Hello, happy second Monday. So today is a really exciting second Monday because we having a movie night tonight. Yeah. So I just wanted to show you guys, thanks for responding to the survey. Overwhelmingly, the majority of you were like, yes, let's do a movie night. That sounds awesome. Some of you are maybes and only 3 of you were like, no, that's stupid. Whatever. We don't want you watching the movie with us. I don't know why it is. I'm just kidding. We would love to have you. So we are for sure having a movie night tonight. It looks like 8 o'clock works the best for the majority of people. So we'll start the Zoom at like 8 o'clock tonight. I will post a link to the movie night Zoom on Google Classroom on the stream. Okay, so make sure that you look on the stream for the Zoom link to the movie night tonight. And we will start at 8 o'clock. Okay, so if you guys somebody said they had to work until 8:30, just join us as soon as you're done with work. We would love to have you. So you can hop on at any time. If you have to hop off early, it's no big deal. This is not mandatory. It's just for fun. Okay, so we're going to watch the Crucible tonight as a class. Say hi to each other because I miss you guys. I don't know about you, but I just miss seeing everybody. Your mama's bringing snacks, so make sure you tell her so that she gets the good stuff ready for you. And then somebody did comment that technology sucks, which, yes, okay, this may not go well. It may be a complete disaster, but we're gonna try it anyways because it could also be a massive success. If you have poor internet connection, chances are you are going to encounter quite a few problems. And bear in mind that it is still Zoom, and so the video quality is not going to be perfect. Okay, we're not like watching it in HD or anything like that. Like it's probably going to be a little fuzzy, like when you Zoom with people. But hopefully, my hope is that you'll still be able to see what's going on and that the audio will be synced up. And we're going to call that a win. Okay, so it's not going to be a perfect movie night, but I am really super excited because I just miss you guys and I want to see you. Okay, so now let's start talking about the Crucible. So yesterday you guys finished reading Act 4 of the Crucible. You have your test today, so I'm just going to try to really quick run through what happened at the end of Act 4, point out a couple key highlights I want you guys to know going into your test today. So remember, in the first half of Act 4, we had left off where the judges were having Elizabeth talk to Proctor to try to get him to confess because they're afraid that if they hang Proctor today, like they're scheduled to do, that there's going to be a rebellion in the town. And so they're trying to avoid that by getting him to confess. And remember that Hale is there trying to get all of the other people to confess so that they don't have to be hanged. Like he's trying to get Rebecca to confess and Martha Corey and all these people in Proctor. Okay, so they're having Elizabeth try to ask Proctor to confess. And Elizabeth tells him when they first start talking that there's been 100 people that have confessed to save their lives. Okay, so more than 100 people. But Elizabeth tells us that Rebecca will not confess, right? She's basically one foot in heaven now, not may hurt her more. She's like, she's such a pure and holy woman that she's unwilling to tell a lie to save her life. Okay, so it is considered to be a sin for them to confess because technically they're lying, right? They weren't actually doing witchcraft. And to lie is one of the major sins, especially in the Puritan time period. So you would be basically going to your grave with a sin. Elizabeth also tells us some really somber news. She says that Giles is dead, but the somber way is how he died. It's very brutal and graphic, and Elizabeth kind of explains it here in this section. She says that he would not answer aye or nay to his indictment. So when he was being questioned by the court, he wouldn't respond. He just remained silent because if he opened his mouth, if he denied the charge, they'd hang him surely and auction out his property. So he stand mute and died Christian under law. So basically what Giles did is he refused to open his mouth. Okay, he wouldn't speak when they were questioning him. He just stayed silent. And the way that they tried to get him to confess is they pressed him. So that means he was laying like on the ground and they were setting stones on top of him. And so it just got heavier and heavier and heavier. And basically it pressed him so hard that he could no longer breathe and he died. Okay. And he wouldn't talk because if he died without confessing, then he still technically died like a Christian, and his land wouldn't be auctioned away. So his family still inherited his land. So I just kind of wanted to explain it to make sure that you guys understood that Giles basically died for the sake of his family, so that his family would still be taken care of after he passed away. And the only words that he said when he was dying was more weight. So like add more stones, right? Brutal. Proctor, we see, is starting to think about confessing. He says to Elizabeth, I have been thinking I would confess to them, Elizabeth. What say you? Elizabeth won't give Proctor an out, right? She's not saying, I think that's a good decision, but she's also not saying, don't do it. She's just like, I cannot judge you, right? Whatever you think you need to do for yourself, I will support you. And then they continue to talk, and Elizabeth takes the blame for John's affair. She kind of says it needs a cold wife to prompt lechery. She basically says that she made a cold house. Like she was really cold to him, meaning that she wasn't warm and affectionate like a wife should have been. And that's what kind of drove him to do what he did with Abigail. She says, she expresses some of her insecurities here. I counted myself so plain, so poorly made, no honest love could come to me. Suspicion kissed you when I did. So she doesn't think that she was worthy of Proctor, and she thinks that that kind of pushed him away. So her kind of taking the blame for their affair, I'll leave that up to you to decide if you agree with that or not. But it's kind of an interesting confession that she makes. And then, speaking of confessions, Proctor does end up confessing, right? He says, I want my life. Hathorn, you'll confess. Proctor, I want my life. So he doesn't actually outright say, yes, I committed witchcraft, but he's like, I want to save myself. And so they bring out this deposition for him to sign this petition, like saying, yes, I, John Proctor, committed witchcraft or whatever, and I am confessing to it. So he basically just has to sign that. And Rebecca is refusing. And when Proctor's about to sign, he turns to Elizabeth and says, would you give them such a lie? Say it. Would you ever give them this? You would not. If tongues of fire were singeing, you would not. So Proctor's really looking to his wife, whom he views as a really righteous, upstanding woman and a perfect example of how he should be living his life. And she doesn't give him an out. She doesn't say, I would do it or I wouldn't do it. She's just letting him make his own choice because she doesn't want to influence whether or not he goes to heaven or hell. Now, Proctor refuses to give up names of other people that have committed witchcraft, right? So Danvers says, Proctor, you mistake me. I'm not empowered to trade your life for a lie. You have most certainly seen some person with the devil. Mr. Proctor, a score of people have already testified they saw this woman with the devil. And Proctor's like, then it's proved. Why must I say it? So he's refusing to give up any names of his friends and further condemn them. He's just remaining silent on that issue. And Danforth is not liking it. And Danforth says, you will sign your name or it is no confession. And Proctor really does not want to sign his name because he really values his name. Okay. And that's what this whole interaction is. He's like, okay, there, I signed it. And Danforth wants to hang it in the village, like on the church, so that everybody can see that Proctor confessed, because Proctor is a really upstanding citizen of the town. And if people see that he confessed, then they'll really believe that these witch trials happened. But Proctor's so unwilling to give up his name that eventually he yells, because it's my name, I cannot have another in my life. If I lie, all of these people will see it. What will my children think? He's really upset about having to sign away his name, and so upset that he ends up tearing up his confession. And basically him doing this is like him putting the nail in his coffin, right? He knows that if he doesn't give this signed petition, this signed confession to Danforth to hang in the village, then he's going to hang. Okay. So he tears it up, and Danforth proclaims, hang them high over the town. Who weep for these weeps for corruption. So Rebecca and Proctor are on their way to be hanged in front of the entire town. And as he's being led away, Hale is pleading with Elizabeth, tell him to confess, tell him to confess. And she says this final line, he have his goodness now, God forbid I take it from him. So basically she's saying, he's finally come to God. He turned away from the lie he was about to tell. He's apologized to Elizabeth for committing his sin. He's really paid a price for his adultery that he committed. And so Elizabeth recognizes this, and she's basically saying he's dying a good man, and he's going to be with God. And so it's a really kind of sad ending to the play. I'm sorry, I should have warned you. This is not a happy play, right? Not a happy play. It ends really sad. We don't actually see them being hanged in the play, but the final drum roll that happens right before people are hanged. So it's kind of implied that Rebecca and Proctor do die at the end of this play. I'm so sorry. Really sad ending. But happy news. We're watching that movie tonight, 8 o'clock. Don't forget. I'll see you there. So you guys are taking your test. I wish you the best of luck. There's a few multiple choice and matching on there, which shouldn't be too terribly hard. And then a couple short answer like we've done on our quizzes. And just as a reminder, tomorrow we are starting To Kill a Mockingbird. I will post all of the information. I'll have another video kind of explaining how we're going to do Mockingbird and how we're going to take attendance for it and all the things like that. So good luck on your test, and hopefully I will see you for our watching of The Crucible tonight. Have a good day, you guys. Talk to you later.